So welcome back to a class of, again, in continuation of environment and sustainable development. We finished with the environment part. We are going to do what is known as sustainable development. What is sustainable development? We'll just talk about the meaning in this, an introduction. It's an international issue. Even the United Nations touched upon it, and it has told all the nations world over to wake up to this reality of development should take place, economic development should take place, but it should be sustainable. It should be there for our future generations. That's what it is. So the process of development uh, to fulfill the present needs, present generation needs, without jeopardizing the future generations, the needs of the future generations. Let's not just finish off resources indiscriminately and they are not there for the future generations, then what is the big deal? So find ways and means to bring about the say the renewable resources, or talk about, because the non-renewable, once they are used, they are dead and gone forever. Let's not just do that. That's what is the meaning. Particularly we're going to do about that. And here there's something known as green national income also. It's a new term that they've coined, in which they talk about development along with keeping the natural resources or using them, economizing the natural resources, our natural capital. Basically, that's what we are going to talk about. So just go through this while I just talk about the meaning. It is very important. I think it's one of the most important lessons that we are going to do. It is the meaning of sustainable development. So the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, that is UNCED, has defined sustainable development as follows: that sustainable development is a development that meets the need of the present generation without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. And this, we find that there was this commission that was there. Why do you think sustainable development, this issue has really come up? Because of man's bid to industrialization at such great speed. So rapid industrialization of the world in the past century. And this concept was first propounded by World Commission on Environment and Development in its report that it submitted in 1987. World Commission on Environment and Development was set up by the United Nations. And the commission has another name after its chairman, that is Harlem Brundtland. That's why it's sometimes known as Brundtland Commission. This commission was to assess global environment and developmental problems, and it submitted its report in 1987. And the report is entitled as what is known as Our Common Future. So we'll talk about that. What our common future means: common future of all the nations of the world. So regarding how do you measure sustainable development, there's something known as measurement of sustainable development. It's not, development is not to be measured in terms of growth in national income. So they came up with a new concept, they coined a new term which is known as green national income. So when development has to be measured in terms of what is known as the natural capital to be kept intact, to see that it is not indiscriminately finished off. So there should not be finishing of the natural capital. So we can see that you can see the formula as green national income is national income minus depreciation of natural capital. And if there is a rise in green national income, this implies that there has sustainable development that has taken place in that particular area or nation, whatever. So mere growth in national income cannot be called sustainable development. And we know that national income is a sum of all final goods and services produced in a country during a given financial year. So while measuring the total value of goods and services produced, depreciation of natural capital. So what is natural capital? That are natural resources, including environment. That has to be taken into account. And we have to see, we know that in the process of production, that's what we were doing. Various production of various types of goods and services, there is a loss of natural resources in the country because of their constant use. And this is what is known as environmental degradation. This has to be kept in check. So basically it is this. Sustainable development talks about all this. So sustainable development is a development that meets the basic needs of all, particularly particularly for employment, food, energy, water, housing. It ensures growth of agriculture, manufacturing, power and services to meet the needs of all, and yet to see that there is enough left for the future generation. That is sustainable development. So Brundtland Commission, it emphasizes on protecting this for future generation. And this is in line with the argument of the environmentalists who emphasize that we have a moral obligation to hand over planet Earth in good condition, in good order, to the future generations. That is, the present generation should give a better environment to the future generation. And we should leave a stock of good quality of life assets, no less than what we inherited. So we are talking about that. So this is our common goals, and this is what they had to say. And quickly I'll just say the present generation can promote sustainable development through what? Through conservation and promotion of natural resources, then preservation of the regenerative capacity of the world's natural ecological system, and we have to see that we have to see that whatever we are doing, whatever production we are doing, it has to be in keeping with our, let's just say that even when we are doing something, or we are earning our living, or we are, as ordinary human beings, we see that our future generations have, say, a good house to live in, a good bank balance. So that is what we must think of leaving for our future generations. So for that also, it's very important that we have to limit the human population to a level within the carrying capacity of the environment. And it is likened to the plimsoll line of the ship. Now what is this plimsoll line of the ship? That means how much a ship can be loaded. So that is the load limit mark. So that is what we have to take care of. Otherwise, if we go beyond the plimsoll line of the economy, that is the carrying capacity of the earth, then we cannot think of sustainable development. It's going to be a downhill journey. And we are already seeing signs of it, and that is why United Nations had to come up with this. So again, it should be technological progress should be made, but not at the cost of future generations. And we must make sure that the renewable resources should be extracted on a sustainable basis. That is, its regeneration rate should be kept in mind. And for non-renewable resources, the rate of depletion should not exceed the rate of creation of renewable substitutes, or we should find other substitutes, say the artificial substitutes for things. So, and then whatever inefficiencies are cropping up because of pollution, that should be corrected. And only then, so that is really the meaning of sustainable development is very wide, but this is, in short, this is what we can understand with sustainable development.